But we haven't talked about your ability, for example, to be an effective campaigner on the ground. In order for you to make any dent, surely you need deep pockets.
That's right.
Do you have them?
Well, the National Election Commission of Liberia said to run a presidential election, you will need, and you can only use, up to $2 million United States dollars. And so we're good. We're good for that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So you have $2 million?
That's what I just said.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you, Ms. Cooper, I read the other day a letter, open letter to President Sirleaf about violence against women in Liberia. And the letter suggests that the president has done very little, has done something, but it's not enough. I want you to address that violence against women in Liberia and the whole idea of affirmative action. You're running for president.
Yes.
There's this consideration that very few women, I saw the other day, Liberian senators line up. I did not see a lot of women there. What's your view on affirmative action, and what's your view on violence against women?
Well, let me tackle the violence against women piece there for a second. You see, the violence that's happening against women in Liberia, it's primarily cultural. It's not an issue with leadership. Yes, leadership can put policies in place that will prevent, or at least enforce laws that will prevent husbands from beating on their wives, or brothers from attacking their sisters, or community gang from attacking females. That's the government's role. But the ideas are all cultural. In certain tribes, it's okay for a man to beat on his wife to the point of death sometimes, because that shows love, as according to those tribal beliefs. That's something a leader can never stamp out of a society, but only through education. And that's why I preach education across the board for every person that calls himself a Liberian, not just the privileged few. And so also going back to the question of the affirmative action.
Before you get to affirmative action,
Sure.
there is this thing about some important people in government
Sure.
who are, some of them in the legislature, who have babies with some of the girls who are underage.
That's right.
I want you to address that. What would you do if you're president?
Well, the idea is, there are cultural practices, and there are cultural practices that infringes on people's citizens, individuals' human rights. And those are things that will be stopped under my leadership. I don't care what the cultural practice is, as long as it's not productive and it infringes on some young woman or young man's human rights, it will have to stop.
Now, affirmative action.
Sure, the affirmative action supports 30% participation, female participation in the political arena. We haven't reached those numbers yet. I'm the only female amongst 22 political parties with all male candidates within the 2017 presidential race. That's a clear indication that we need to get more women involved.